Hi students, today we are going to learn how do flowering plants reproduce. So let's explore the science of plants and flowers. Here are some flowers. Have you ever wondered how these flowering plants reproduce? Today you will learn the structure of flowers, explain what pollination is and how it takes place. You will be able to identify different methods of pollination and you will be able to explain what fertilization is and its process. By the way, do you know a single bee can visit up to 500 flowers a day? Yes, it can. Let's study the labeled diagram of a flower. Starting from the top left, there is an anther. It is responsible to produce the male gamete cells called pollen. Then there is filament. Filament is the supportive stalk that holds up the anther. Both anther and filament, collectively called as the stamen, the male reproductive part of the flower. Then there are a protective structures, small leafy green structures. They shield the delicate reproductive organs of the flower. This leafy structure is called as sepal. Then there are colorful petals. They are delicate parts. They attract the pollinators. Then comes stigma, style, and ovary. All of these three, stigma, style, and ovary, are the female parts of the flower, and collectively stigma, style, and ovary are called as the pistil. Stigma is responsible to receive or capture the pollen grains because it has a sticky surface. Then comes the tube-like structure, the style. It is a long tube that connects the stigma to the ovary. Then ovary. Ovary contains the ovules which once fertilized will develop into seeds. Let's review. Can you recall all the parts of the flower? And what do you think? What will happen if one of these parts is missing? Yes, if a flower is missing some parts, it might have trouble getting pollinated and fertilized. However, there are instances when they develop ways to make up for these missing structures. Now let's study what is pollination. The process of transferring of pollen grains from the male part, the anther of one flower, to the female part, stigma, of another flower, is called as pollination. Why it is important? Pollination leads to the seed formation, so it is essential for a plant growth and reproduction, and the production of fruits that humans can eat. Methods of pollinations. Pollination can happen through the insects like bees and butterflies carry the pollen from one flower to another while they collect nectar. Or pollination may happen by the wind. Wind can also carry the pollen to other flowers. These pollen grains are lightweight and can be easily carried by the breeze. Be a pollination expert. Choose a specific plant or flower species, research and identify its pollination method, example by insect, by wind or by water. Describe the plant's unique features and adaptations for attracting pollinators, such as its color, the flower structure, or its scent. Okay, so let's say that being a pollination expert, You have identified a flower species which is a butterfly bush. The pollination method for this flower is through the insects, means by the butterfly. What are the unique features of this flower? Its color. It has a vibrant color like purple, pink and white to attract pollinators. The structure of the flower. It has a tabular structure with a landing platform to encourage butterflies to access nectar and pollen. And also its scent. It emits a sweet scent to entice the butterfly. The process of pollination. Pollen production, the first step. The anther produces the pollen which contains the male reproductive cells. Second step, attracting pollinators. The flowers may use its colorful petals, fragrance, or its nectar to attract pollinators like bees, butterflies, or birds. Third step, the transfer of pollen. When a pollinator visits a flower for nectar or pollen, it brushes against the anther, picking up and carrying the pollen grains on its body. Fourth step, arrival to another flower. When the pollinator moves to another flower of the same species or a compatible one, some of the previously collected pollen may rub off onto the stigma of the second flower. This is how the pollination occurs. Now the fertilization. What is it? A process by which the male and the female reproductive cells combine to initiate the development of a seed is called fertilization. Why fertilization is important? It is essential for maintaining the diversity of plant species and functioning of ecosystems and food production. Process of fertilization. The first step. The pollen on the stigma germinates and sends a pollen tube down into the flower's ovary. This tube delivers the male gamete to the ovule, where fertilization occurs. The second step is the seed formation. The ovule develops into a seed and the flower's ovary matures into a fruit enclosing the seed. Third step is the seed dispersal and the germination. When the mature fruit can be eaten by animal or carried by the wind or float in water, allows the seed to be carried to new location and to grow into a new plant. Thinking time. Can you propose one method by which non-flowering plants reproduce? Simple answers. Spore production. The non-flowering plants like the ferns, the mosses and the algae releases tiny reproductive structures called spores. These spores can be carried by wind or water to new locations where they can grow into new plants. A quick recap. Structure of flowers. The female part, pistil, is composed of stigma, style and ovary. The male part, stamen, is composed of anther and filament. Accessory parts include the petals and the sepals. Okay, then pollination. What is pollination? It is a process by which the pollen of a flower is transferred from the male part, the anther of one flower, to the female part, stigma of another flower. Thirdly, fertilization. What is fertilization? The process where the male and the female reproductive cells combine to initiate the seed development. Now here's the assignment for you all. Sketch or take a photo of a flowering plant common in your local area. Investigate the precise processes of pollination and fertilization that allows it to reproduce. The end.